Browns QB Shedeur Sanders affected by Dante Moore's 2026 college return. Dante Moore's decision to return to Oregon has significant implications for the upcoming NFL draft, particularly for Shedeur Sanders. Moore, who would have been a highly coveted quarterback prospect, is now set to strengthen the 2027 class, potentially affecting Sanders' chances to start for the Cleveland Browns in 2026. Dante Moore's impact on the NFL draft. On Wednesday, Dante Moore, a college quarterback, announced he would return to the University of Oregon. This choice was anticipated in football circles and shifts the landscape for upcoming drafts. Moore had the potential to be a top 3 NFL draft pick, but opted to further his college career after a challenging performance in the college football playoff semifinals. The current quarterback landscape. With Moore returning, the current quarterback prospects entering the draft have been reduced significantly. Key players still available include Fernando Mendoza, Indiana; Ty Simpson, Alabama. Mendoza is projected to be the first overall pick for the Las Vegas Raiders. The New York Jets and Arizona Cardinals, holding the next 2 picks, are also looking for quarterbacks, further complicating the Browns' search. Shedeur Sanders' future. With fewer elite quarterbacks available, Shedeur Sanders' chances of becoming the Browns' starter in 2026 have improved. However, much will hinge on the new head coach's decisions and strategies. General Manager Andrew Berry emphasized that assessing the quarterback position is a lengthy process that requires collaboration with the new coaching staff. 2027 quarterback class and its implications. Moore's return positions him within a strong 2027 quarterback class, which includes notable talents like Arch Manning from Texas and Lenora Sellers from South Carolina. The depth of the class could shape future drafts and trading strategies for teams seeking quarterbacks. Assessment of current talent. Last year, the perception of Sanders' draft position was significantly different. He eventually fell to the 5th round after expectations placed him as a top 2 pick. As Berry indicated, the evaluation of quarterback talent can be unpredictable. For the Browns, the starting lineup in 2026 could include a healthy Deshaun Watson, adding another layer of complexity to Sanders' situation. Berry remarked on Sanders' growth this past year, highlighting his mental and physical development, as well as improvements in playmaking and accuracy. Future possibilities for the Browns. As the Browns prepare for the draft, they are meticulously analyzing both internal and external options for the quarterback position. Potential veterans include Mac Jones, Malik Willis. The Browns may select a quarterback with their 6th overall pick or potentially trade to acquire more valuable picks for a stronger 2027 quarterback draft. This ongoing evaluation of talent and strategy is crucial for achieving sustained success. Dante Moore's decision to continue his collegiate journey, despite the financial sacrifices, reveals his commitment to improvement. He completed 71.8% of his passes last season, totaling 3,565 yards, with 30 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. His pursuit of a national championship with the Ducks highlights both his ambition and the competitive nature of upcoming college football seasons. 1. A quarterback in transition. Shedeur Sanders NFL beginnings. When Shedeur Sanders entered the 2025 NFL Draft, expectations were complicated. He had emerged as a dynamic college quarterback, accurate, poised, and celebrated for leading Colorado and Jackson State with creativity and leadership. Yet questions arose about how his game would translate to the pro level. Despite All-America honors and impressive stats in college, he slid into the 5th round with the Browns, a surprise that immediately set the tone for an uphill battle to legitimize himself in Cleveland. Sanders' early NFL season was rocky, inconsistent play, a struggling supporting cast, and multiple changes in offensive rhythm. Statistically, his rookie marks weren't encouraging, with critics pointing to inefficient results and a QBR that ranked among the lowest in the league. Yet amid the on-field struggle was a narrative of learning, growth, and a young man embracing the grind of leveling up, exactly what a franchise yearning for stability at quarterback desperately needs. The Browns, for their part, have been publicly ambivalent about Sanders' role. Even as he battled for snaps, Cleveland's front office and coaching staff continued to evaluate the QB room with little guarantee of their long-term plans. General Manager Andrew Berry recently remarked that the organization would explore multiple paths to improve the quarterback position, underscoring that Sanders is far from a settled answer. 2. Enter Dante Moore, a draft prospect whose absence echoes louder than his presence. Enter Dante Moore, the Oregon quarterback whose draft stock loomed over the 2026 quarterback class. For much of the 2025 college season, Moore was projected as a high first-round pick, a potential franchise changer who might soon be available for teams desperate for a QB. Scouts praised his arm talent, accuracy, and ability to make plays under pressure. Yet in a twist that reshaped the NFL draft landscape, Moore announced he would return to Oregon for another collegiate season, forgoing entry into the 2026 draft and postponing his professional debut until 2027. This decision sent ripples through draft boards and team plans immediately. For teams like the New York Jets, who were reportedly eyeing a quarterback with their high pick, the choice to return changed their approach. For the Browns, it punctuated just how limited the 2026 QB class had become. 3. The draft desert. What Moore's return means for the QB market. Moore's return had a twofold effect on the draft. A. Shrinking an already thin QB class. Before Moore's announcement, the 2026 QB class was viewed as thin but intriguing. There were a handful of hopefuls: Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson, Trinidad Chambliss, Arch Manning, and a few others, but few projected to be franchise-changing talents with immediate NFL readiness. With Moore out of the draft picture, teams with pressing QB needs suddenly faced harder choices and fewer clear prospects. For the Browns, who hold early draft capital, that creates a strategic conundrum. Use premium assets on a lesser QB option, stay patient, or stick with what you have in Cleveland. Moore's absence amplifies pressure on Cleveland's front office to either trust the current roster or reach for a less proven name. 4. Sanders in the spotlight. Opportunity or pressure cooker. Moore's decision changes things for Shedeur Sanders in several subtle but significant ways. A. Less competition, but also less pressure to panic. Without Moore on the board, the Browns aren't forced into a scenario where a polished, high-ceiling QB is suddenly available at a spot they can realistically acquire. The lack of an obvious top QB prospect gives Sanders a reprieve, forcing the team to look internally rather than default to the draft. However, this doesn't guarantee his job. Cleveland could still draft another QB, like Ty Simpson or Trinidad Chambliss, if they believe that player offers more upside or fits better within their offensive vision. B. A chance to define his narrative. At its core, Moore's absence from the draft elevates Sanders' narrative importance in Cleveland. With fewer top QB targets available, the Browns' quarterback room now leans more heavily on what